You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Welcome into RBLR Lightning. My name is Chris, and I have a return from TIR, and this podcast is officially over the cap. But I'm back. I'm feeling good, ready to talk some hockey, and alongside me to do that is my main man, Mr. Jake Ricker. Jake, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Chris. It's good to have you back off long-term injured reserve for these playoffs now, right? How that works?
Yeah.
Off LTIR, but I'm doing good. Looking forward to talking some more Lightning hockey. They've been playing pretty well as of late, so it's been some fun times recently.
Yes, the Lightning have looked good. We seem to have got our stride back. We held first place there for a little bit, so it's good to be back up. It's good to see the team playing pretty well with a lot of injuries that we've had, and with that, we got some news as far as injuries go. Cooch was on the ice with Point. Let's see. Point was in a red no contact jersey, and they were skating this morning, so that's a good sign. I saw Cooper saying that Point being back before Christmas, he was saying something like that would be a gift. So I think Point's still going to be out past Christmas, and I believe Cooch is still set to return on his regular timetable sometime, hopefully in January, barring any setbacks. Jake, how are you feeling about this? Any other news as far as injuries go?
It's really exciting to have both Cooch and Point skating again. That's a huge boost for team morale and for those guys as well. And you're right, Point is looking like it's going to be after Christmas. At the New Year's time is when he's supposed to return. Cooch still on that normal timetable, which is a good sign because that means that there hasn't been any setbacks as of yet for either of these guys. And the fact that they're now skating is a good sign that they're on pace to get back when they originally should. So obviously it'd be awesome to get them back sooner. But with the way the Lightning are playing right now, you want them to get back to 100% anyway. The other news on the injury front, though, is Eric Cernak, who was hurt for a little bit. He came back and then ended up, I don't know if he re-aggravated whatever injury he had before or got a new injury, but he's now also out until after Christmas as well, which is a big blow for the Lightning. They've had some major injury issues right now. There's a game that we'll talk about here shortly, but the Lightning were without Nikita Kucherov, Anthony Cirelli, Eric Cernak, Zach Bogosian, Nikita Kucherov. They were without a huge chunk of their lineup. So the injury bug has definitely hit the Lightning pretty hard. And hopefully by the time New Year's rolls around, we'll start to have everybody back and we'll be at a full swing.
Yeah, man, these injuries have just been brutal for the Lightning this year, and we seem to just keep playing and keep bouncing back and playing some really solid hockey early on in the season. So honestly, I could only imagine where we'd be with a full healthy team right now. We might not have lost a game yet, maybe one or two, but the team's still looking really good. Even with all these setbacks. Unfortunately, injuries are a part of hockey, though. So let's hope for the best, man. Hopefully going forward, we get these guys back. We can get healthy come playoff time, which is the most important. But on the good news, Cirelli and Bogosian seem to be back in the lineup tonight for this Kings Lightning game as we record here on this Tuesday night. Obviously, that's a good sign. You didn't want Cirelli to be out for long either, and obviously Bogo too, because we're already hurting with Cernak out, and obviously we have tons of forwards injured. So Cirelli being back is a big key to our offense. Obviously, this is a good sign. Jake, how are you feeling about Cirelli and Bogosian being back?
Yeah, having Cirelli back is awesome. He's been battling that broken nose for the longest time, having to wear that full face mask. So hopefully that's getting ready to heal up soon too. But Cirelli's played really good this year as well. I think he's been really good. He's been back to his old self this year. I think a lot of people thought he kind of had a down year last year a little bit. So it's been good to see him playing as well as he has been. So it'll be nice to have him back, hopefully tonight, as we're getting ready. We'll find out at puck drop here in just a little bit. But and then Bogosian as well. Bogosian's had a pretty good year as well. He's been taking a lot of penalties, which has been a little bit of an issue for him. But he's scored a couple of goals. He's been really good offensively and defensively. So it'll be nice to have him back in the lineup, especially because he's a right-handed defenseman, and our right-handed defensemen, for whatever reason, always get hurt, and it's been an issue for us for a couple of seasons now. So just to have him back and added depth at the core position is always good.
Yeah, and in some in some other news here, obviously, everybody probably knows Ben Bishop is in a career. Obviously, one of our better goalies for our franchise, man. You get some really key victories for us, led us to some winning seasons. Came out of nowhere, man. I never expected Bishop to be as good as he was. But man, he great career. Obviously, injuries for him kind of set him back once he left us, and he was even hurt with us for a little bit, and then he got to Dallas and I don't think he's played a full season with yet, maybe one, if I'm not mistaken, possibly.
He hasn't, yeah.
Yeah, just a bunch of injuries for Bishop, but it was pretty cool for the Lightning to say thanks for everything to Bishop. I thought that was a classy move from our organization. Just another great move for our organization. This shows how good our organization is and other players, even though they're no longer with the Lightning. But how are you feeling about this Bishop retirement, Jake?
Man, I feel bad for Ben Bishop. He's been trying to come back from a knee injury, and they said that he wouldn't be able to recover, and that's why he's had to call his career short here. So, and I loved Bishop here when he was with the Lightning. He did so much for this franchise. The Lightning did not have a number one goaltender for the longest time until Bishop came around. And the only reason Bishop, even the Lightning when he did, was because Andrei Vasilevskiy started becoming the goaltender that he is. I mean, that's crazy to think about. The Lightning had Ben Bishop and Andrei Vasilevskiy as their two goaltenders. I mean, they were unstoppable. Bishop helped lead the Lightning back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 2004 in 2015. And unfortunately, he got hurt in those finals, and Andrei Vasilevskiy had to come in, who did great. But, who knows if Bishop was healthy those entire finals, what could have happened. But it's a shame that he had to end his career that way. I wish he's one guy I really wish would have been able to win a Stanley Cup with us or with anybody. He's such a great guy both on and off the ice. He was a fantastic goaltender, and I nothing but the best retirement. I was a huge fan of Bishop. And it's funny, the trade that happened for us to get Ben Bishop, it was Corey Conacher and a 4th round draft pick, I believe, that went to it was the Flyers 4th round draft pick. And I remember at the time too, even myself and a lot of fans were not big fans of this trade because Corey Conacher was a huge fan favorite at the time. He was playing really, really well. So people were like, holy cow, why did we give up this much for a goaltender? But then little did we know, Corey Conacher, while he had some bright spots in his career, really got to that next level. And meanwhile, Ben Bishop became our number one goaltender for multiple years. So it's crazy to look back at that trade and everything that transpired after it. And you mentioned that the Lightning, you did a classy move for them to thank Bishop, which it was, but I'm actually going to call him out a little bit here. I was a little disappointed with the shout out that we gave to Ben Bishop. He holds 2 franchise records with the Lightning. He had more before Andrei Vasilevskiy started breaking a bunch of records. But kind of hoping for a little bit more, maybe some cool pictures. We had some big moments with him, maybe a little highlight reel video. But to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed with that tribute for Bishop.
You wanted the full 5-star Benny go away.
Heck yeah, man!
Package,
he did so much for this franchise, and 2 franchise records. That's a big deal. It still stand today.
Yeah, that would have been cool too. I liked Bishop. He, like I said, he played really well for us and came nowhere. So it's always good when you can find those kind of, especially when a goalie. Goalies are hard to come by as is, especially long-term goalies. And Bishop played a lot of key seasons for us. So I wish Ben nothing but the best, man. We do have some hockey to talk about though. We finished off this first Canadian road trip of the year, man. We took 8 out of 10 points. Can't get much better than that besides going perfect, and that's hard to do. So obviously we played the Canadians and the Maple Leafs and the Senators while we were away. So this Canadians game, man, I went into it with the mindset hey, Montreal's really struggling, I'm sure, which most Bolts fans did, thinking this is our game. We got this game, and man, we scored early, and that was it. It was a struggle till the end of the game, and we were able to pull it out. But man, I was really worried there for a second that Montreal was gonna pull off a win, and struggled all year. I would expect the Lightning to go out and I don't want to say rout them, but we should have won this game by 2+ goals. I think, in my opinion, we came out a little sloppy. Montreal did, they did play pretty well overall. Vasi had a good game for us. He made some key saves again, bailing us out. Allen had some crazy saves for the Canadians, if I'm remembering correctly, in this game. So their goalie bailed them out too. The ending of the game obviously was wild for sure. With 2 late goals from was it Palat got that last goal, the big game winner with what I think 30 seconds left, 40 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And we were able to come away with 2 points, but this was one of those games where you had that Stanley Cup rematch kind of vibe. The Canadians gave us all they got, and we were able to come back and win this game at the very end. So Jake, how did you feel about this Habs game, man? Were you going into it with that mindset of, man, this is an easy 2 points, or what?
Well, I think me and Eureka talked about this on our last podcast, and I've said this a couple of times this season where, you can't look at records and expect your team to just dominate all the time. Obviously, that's what you would like to happen. That's what should happen on paper. But these guys are NHL teams and NHL players for a reason. They're all still very good hockey players. And the Canadians have definitely not had the best season. So I wasn't utterly shocked when this happened. And the Lightning kind of had this theme throughout this road trip in these last couple of games too, where they're getting outplayed in the first, second period, and somehow on the scoreboard, the Lightning are the ones that are usually still leading it. And that was proof at the end of this first period when we led 1-0, because Montreal was the better team for a large majority of this game, basically the entire first and second period, even a large part of the third as well. But Scorey Perry getting his 6th goal of the season, and then Andre Palat ended up putting up us in front 3-2 at the very end was unbelievable. And that's credit to the Lightning, that even when things are not going well and they're losing to a team that a lot of people should expect them to beat handedly, they stick with it. They don't give up. That's been something that their identity, if you will, for multiple seasons now. And they continue to do that, where they stick in it the whole time. They don't give up. They end up coming back, tying the game, and ultimately winning it in regulation, which is huge. Not that Montreal is close to us in the standings aspect of things, but just to get a division win regulation is huge for the Bolts. So happy they pulled out the win. It definitely wasn't their best game. Power play struggled again, but it's going to happen. You can't look at records and just to expect win games easily.
Yes, and you brought up one guy I wanted to take a moment to speak about, and that is Mr. Scorey Perry himself. He is back. He's back with a vengeance. He got that monkey off his back, and he's been, man, he's now, 6 goals already? 6 goals from 0 to 6, and here within these past, 2-3 weeks, I think. Great play from him. I think that line all around is finally clicking and getting things going. And ever since he got that first goal and he threw that monkey into the crowd, the invisible monkey, man, he's been on fire. He's been on a tear. And this is the reason we signed a guy like Perry, because obviously he can still do the things that Scorey Perry used to do when he was Scorey Perry, score big goals, man, the right timing, a clutch player, a veteran of the league. So I think we brought him in for this reason. And with guys like Point going out and Cooch going out, you need a guy like Perry who's a that can kind of help Stamkos out a little bit, and it's really worked out very well so far. It took a little bit, but man, if he keeps this up, we're going to be, when we get healthy, man, if he keeps this up, we're going to be really, really hard to stop. I mean, we can already score, 4 to 5 goals. Man, if we can score 6 to 7 with a guy like Perry who's on fire and getting Point back and a healthy Cooch, we're looking at a dangerous team if guys like Perry can stay on fire. So, Jake, how are you feeling about Mr. Scorey Perry right now?
Oh, you nailed it right on the head. I mean, I remember when they were struggling, and we talked about this on the podcast as well. And I was saying that, listen, that's not really Perry's job anymore. He's more of a gritty kind of enforcer type of forward. But yet here he is getting right back to his old self, and has 6 goals on the season, as you mentioned. He's been playing absolutely fantastic. I love it. It's great to have him on our team for once doing this, and not to us, because there was a couple seasons ago. I mean, heck, when he was with Montreal season, where he'd be, scoring goals and beating the crap out of players, but now he's doing it for us, which is fantastic. So it's been awesome to see him get really good. And you mentioned that it happened at a great time for the Lightning, where they've had a couple of top players like Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point get injured, and he stepped up in a big way, and hopefully can just continue to happen. I've been so happy for him, and him finally getting things underway. And that's gone for a lot of these new players for the Lightning, even some of the rookies like Kachuk and Taylor Radish. It just took some time for them to settle in, get used to these new surroundings, or for the rookies coming up to the NHL for the first time. They've been able to learn how the locker room works, and how the speed of the game works with the Lightning, and they've all really settled in very nicely and have been playing really well, which is really good to see.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a struggle game, but we hung in there. We were able to come away with the win. So, like we always say, at the end of the day, 2 points are 2 points. We'll take it. Those kind of games are going to happen. It's just a part of the game. Like you said, these are professional athletes, so can't overlook anybody. And I'm not sure if the Lightning necessarily overlooked the Canadians, because I do think Allen bailed Montreal out a little bit. Ran into a hot goalie, in that game. So I think overall, obviously, the thing to take away from that game was obviously the power play once again over 3, which is kind of a bummer. But the power play has gotten better. It has definitely improved from where we were, a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. Things are starting to get going. Like I said, I want to see a little more consistency with it. But overall, not a bad game. Good to see Perry keep scoring, and the Bolts were able to come away with the victory. So, moving on in this Canadian trip, Toronto, this was probably the toughest test, I think, in my opinion. We always play Toronto well, but Toronto has been hot. They have been one of the best teams in the league. It was in Toronto. This is, we're heading towards the end of the road trip here. We're probably feeling kind of tired, but the boys came to play in this one, man. Guys like Radish stepped up. What a shot from Radish. He, like you talked about, guys like Radish and Kachuk and those younger guys and those bottom 6 forwards are finally coming along a little bit and helping, guys like Stammer and, get the pucks in the back of the net. So, Stamkos had another goal this game. Shout out to the captain, man. Stamkos he's been great this year. He looks so healthy. He looks like he's having fun. He looks like he's back to Stammer, the hammer of old. That one snipe shot he took from the great pass, man, he buried that in the back of the net. A beautiful pass, great shot. His shot is just so clean this year. He's finding the corners and shooting from all angles. And man, I'm just really happy for Stamkos. I really am. All that talk about trading this and trading that, and he didn't listen to it. He came back from his injuries. So glad to have the captain back playing well. Vasi played pretty well this game. He 38 shots he faced. So Toronto was firing away. The Toronto power play went 2 for 2. So we did give up 2 power play goals. And that was really it for Toronto. We pretty much owned this game, in my opinion, from start to finish. Like I said, I think this was the biggest game, in my opinion, that on the road trip. I think this was the tougher game, and we came out and played really well this game. Like I said, I know it was too early, but I think after that we just took off, foot on the gas mentality against a team like Toronto. So Jake, how are you feeling about this Toronto game, and how about Stamkos, man? Is Stamkos back to form, or what?
He's 100% back, and he's been playing fantastic. He's definitely got that chip on his shoulder with the Olympic talk. I think that was a big part of it. And he's here to prove that he is still one of the premier players in the NHL. And I know we've said on this podcast for a while now that Stamkos is still here, and people were overreacting. And it's good to see him finally getting stride and been playing so well. So good for him, absolutely. But you're right, the Lightning did play very well in this Toronto game. I was a little nervous when Toronto scored that first goal, just a minute 44 into the game. That made me panic a little bit, but the Lightning responded, started taking momentum back, and eventually tied the game. PEB got his second goal of the season, which is awesome for him. He's been really good for the Lightning on the penalty kill side of things, and it's good to see him scoring as well now. And then obviously the Lightning went on and took the lead, and then once they got up, they never let back, kept their fast the whole way through, and able to win this game 5-3. So it was good to see the power play get on the board as well. As we know, that's been a struggle for the Bolts all season long. The penalty kill was definitely a struggle in this game. As you mentioned, Toronto going 2 for 2, and we noticed this in the next game, which we'll talk about in just a second. But the penalty kill has had a little bit of issues recently. I don't know if that's just really due to injuries. That could be a big part of it. No Cernak right now, no Sorelli. That hasn't helped. We didn't have Joseph for a game as well, but the penalty kill has hit a little bit of a speed bump, if you will, and hopefully things will start to smooth out for them now. But that is something to keep an eye on right now for the Lightning.
And how about a guy like Andre Palat? I think he's really come on the past couple games. He had 2 goals in this game, and an assist. He's second on the team in goals right now behind Stamkos with 9. And we talk about how underrated Palat is, and he's a guy that I want to keep on this team as long as possible because his role he plays, he can do so many different things that people just I think miss about Palat because you already know his scoring ability. I've seen him do some crazy dekes and moves with the stick. He's got great hands. He'll get in front of the net. He'll get on the power play if you need him to. I think Palat is just that all-around guy that's just overlooked. And when he's playing well too, man, this team can be so dangerous when guys like him are playing good because he's a dangerous player that sometimes is overlooked. So it's kind of good. It really is good to have a guy like Palat on this team, and I want to keep Palat around as long as possible. Jake, how are you feeling about Palat? I know you're a Palat guy like me. It's really good to see him getting back on the scoreboard lately.
Yeah, yes, I am. I remember writing a couple years ago how Palat was the most underrated Bolts on this Lightning team, and he has been so good for the Lightning for so many years. He's continued to have a good season here. He's stepping up with all the injuries right now, so good for Palat to continue be playing really well. He's a guy that I'm worried about losing in the future. He's got a contract coming up here very, very soon. And, with our cap situation as it is, it could be tough to keep a guy like Palat. I mean, he could be a first liner on a lot of different teams, playing on the first line right now. But, he's a top player for a lot of teams and sometimes gets overshadowed by all the talent that the Lightning have.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Palat and point out guys like Palat, Perry, guys that aren't Stamkos, but they're still playing a very pivotal role for this team right now with a lot of injuries. So moving on here to this Ottawa game, the game that we all thought, man, Ottawa sucks. We got this. Well, we don't got it. We lost 0-0. Granted, Brian Elliott was in net. It was not Vasilevsky. This game, man, I don't have many good things to really say about this game. Elliott, only faced 22 shots. This was just a rough game. We looked tired. We looked fatigued, banged up, end of the road trip. Kind of, one of those games I think we went into maybe with the, we got this, or we're going to lose type of mentality. Elliott's in net. Let's give Vasi a day off. Let's take 8 out of 10 points and get back to the warm weather here in Florida. So, Jake, Ottawa game, man, what happened? Do we need to panic, or was this one of those, we're tired, it's the end of the road trip, we're still fine?
I think that's exactly what it was. I think you could tell in this game that the guys were just ready to get back to Tampa and were sick of being on a road trip. This is a long road trip for the boys, a 5-game road trip, and a large part of it being in Canada as well. This is one of those games where you just say, all right, let's bury the tapes of this one and move on to the next. I know Brian Elliott was in net, but I think Elliott's played really good this season. I know there's been a couple games that he's lost. For the most part, really hasn't been his fault. He was left out to a couple of times in this game, and he's made some big saves throughout this season, and he's won a couple of games as well for the Lightning. So Brian Elliott has impressed me. I've been really happy with the way he's played for the Lightning. But yeah, this was a tough game. They were only down 1-0 after the first period, but then the penalty kill, which I had mentioned, kind of hit a speed bump. That continued, and when Ottawa went up and scored 2 more goals in that second period, power play, you just kind of knew that these guys are ready to get out of there and be done with this game. So normally I would be a lot more frustrated at a loss like this against Ottawa. But again, as I said, you can't look at records and expect to win games. And when you win 4 out of 5 games on a road trip, there is no reason to be complaining right now. It's an 82-game schedule, 82-game season. As they say in baseball, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's kind of the same way in hockey as well with an 82-game schedule. So a tough loss, but as long as you can move on and burn the tapes of this one and get back to the way that you were playing before, no reason to panic or no reason to worry at all.
Yeah, and it was just one of those games. We took 8 out of 10 points. We can't be mad at this. Obviously, we can't win every single game, and this is one of those ones you're going to lose, bury the tape, move on. We're still sitting fine at where we're at in the standings with half of our team being out for a good portion of the season. So I'm completely happy where we are. We just can't win every game. Just one of those games you move on and forget about because we'd probably beat Ottawa, the other 99 out of 100 times we play them. So, let's take a quick look around the league. We had first, for a little bit. We're sitting at 17-6-4 with 38 points in third. You got the Panthers and the Maple Leafs kind of battling it out there for first. Boston's in fourth. You got the Red Wings sitting at fifth. And then after that, it's Sabres, Senators, Canadiens. So I think we are sitting pretty. I think we're in a spot where we're going to make the playoffs. There's not a chance that Sabres, Senators, or Canadiens catch up. It looks like Red Wings and Bruins are going to be battling for that 4th, 5th spot. I would expect the Bruins to end up pulling away at some point. I don't think Detroit has enough to keep up with the Bruins. So I think the top 4 seeds are going to be locked in this Atlantic Division. I think we will be getting into the playoffs for sure. It's going to be dangerous for a lot of teams in the league because we are going to hopefully be going into the playoffs healthy, with a healthy Cooch, a healthy Point, a healthy, and obviously with Vasi and net, man, I'm not worried. So the possibility of a three-peat is on, man. I'm feeling good. I'm happy with where we're sitting right now. Jake, anything around the league that you got some news on, or are you okay right now?
Oh, I'm absolutely okay with where we're sitting, obviously in third place right now. It's still really early, and there's still a lot of hockey to be played and changed over that time. But, they're 8 points ahead of Boston right now, although Boston has only played 24 games. They still have some games in hand on us, but we do as well against teams like Toronto, and we're only 2 points out of first place right now against Florida. So they've been playing well. They're in a good spot in the division. Nothing to be worried about there. They're looking good so far. They're on pace to be making the playoffs and having a shot at that three-peat. So that's really good to see for the Lightning. And they got a couple of, you would say, easier games on paper. Again, they got another chance at Ottawa after this game against the Kings tonight. So hopefully they can take advantage of that and win some of these games and start climbing the standings even more.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man, because we're currently sitting in third, and half of our team is, not half, but our star players are hurt, and we're still sitting in third place. So I don't know if that just speaks to our coaching. I don't know if that just speaks to our team mentality in general, the leadership on this team, the ability to give these younger guys the time to play, and letting them get ice time and get acclimated. And I think the Lightning do that really well because when we bring these younger guys up, they're ready to go, NHL ready. We get them on the ice, man. They're playing games and they're getting their feet wet. And then next year, most of the time, 1 or 2 of those guys is on the starting lineup. So they're already ready to go because they get that practice from the year before, and they're getting NHL ready. And I think the Lightning are doing a fantastic job at that, because I will tell you, this is the year I was worried that, man, we're losing guys like Gord, we're losing Gaudreau, we're losing Coleman. How are we going to fix those voids? And man, these younger guys have done a really well job. As far as with all these injuries, they've stepped up really well, done a great job. And we talked about the bottom 6 are starting to come along. So Jake, how are you feeling about, where we're sitting as far as, how would we be if we were a fully healthy team right now? Are we talking, 82 wins, or are we, am I just over exaggerating right now?
Maybe not 82 wins, but they would be probably doing even a little bit better than they are right now. There's no question that the Lightning are not at their final form, if you will, with guys like Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point out. I know we've said that so many times, but it's a great problem to have if you're the Lightning with so much depth. They've shown that for so many years now. We talk about it all the time. Heck, even Gabriel Fortier, who had to come up, a bit later when we had a couple more injuries, like Point's injury, and then Cirelli. He's been playing really good hockey as well. In fact, he played so good that the Lightning ended up sending ABB back down to the Crunch when Joseph had come back from his injury. So all of these rookies are playing extremely well. They're playing hard, even when they weren't scoring before they got some of their first goal. They were still making a lot of plays happen, building some momentum for the Lightning. So that's been really, really, really good to see, especially as you mentioned, when we lost so many big pieces this offseason. A lot of people were worried about that, but it's what we said at the beginning of the season when people were a little worried when we had that rough start. It's okay. We need some time for all these new guys and young guys to start learning the system and getting better. And that's exactly what we've seen happen. And it's only a matter of time before we see this team fully healthy and really can see what they can do. Probably come after Christmas, New Year's time, was just something to look forward to.
We talking maybe 10, 20, 30 goals a game? That would be crazy. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to be a really fun team when we do get healthy, but just glad to be sitting where we're sitting right now. People need to relax. If we lose to Ottawa, it's okay. It's going to happen. We got Ottawa coming up. And speaking of coming up, we got the Kings tonight as you record this. Then we got Ottawa, which I think we'll see a totally different game. It's here. We're going to be well rested. I would expect them to come out strong against Ottawa and show us not to worry. And then obviously Saturday night is a big game in Colorado against the Avs. We have not played the Avs yet this season. I'm kind of hoping the Avs are a little healthier so that we can get a full game and not some excuses. I want to play a healthy Avs team and see what we're really made of, man. Put us to the test. We could see the Avs come Stanley Cup time. I know they're a little banged up, but they get their star guys back. We got our star guys back. We're talking about a hell of a 7-game series there in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, Jake, anything we should be worried about with the Kings, Senators, or Avalanche coming up?
No, not really. It's just a matter of if the Lightning can make sure they play to their strong suits, play their kind of game. Don't, again, like as I said a couple times on this episode, don't look at the records and be fooled by that. They've been playing really well this entire season. Hopefully they can keep that up. You mentioned Colorado. They're always a playoff or Stanley Cup contender, so that'll be another big game for the Lightning. That one's on the road as well, so let's end this year out the right way and get right back on, or keep up the pace that we're on right now, and be ready for when everybody gets healthy and gets back.
Yeah, man, I think that's all I got for this show here. Liking and subscribing is free, but if you want to support the pod, head over to shop RBLRsports.com. We got t-shirts celebrating your favorite hockey, football, baseball, soccer teams. Check it out. The link is in the description. Use Bolts for 10% off your order. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe, man. We're trying to give you guys the best content possible. I am back from LITR. I'm returned. I'm healthy. I'm ready to give you guys the best content we can. Anything helps. If you got questions, comments, please feel free to ask them. We're here for you guys. We want you guys to reach out to us, give us some questions. My final thoughts are, the Lightning are looking good. We're sitting where we should be right now. I'm not too worried about first place. We'll be there at the end when it matters. Let's just get this team healthy and keep on winning some games. So I'm going to give you the final word. Jake, go ahead and take us home, man.
You said it. The Lightning are playing well. It's been a lot of fun hockey to watch for them right now, and hopefully they can continue to do that. And I can't wait till next year when we have the team back at full strength and we can see them play. It's good to have them back home as well. We've exciting things getting closer and closer, like the Stadium Series coming up here very, very soon. Can't wait for all that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Go Bolts.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.